Linus Sanders, congratulations to a great triathlon show today. You delivered really, great action.
I just wanted to execute my best race. I wanted to extract maximum potential out of myself, and that's what I did. I had a plan in place that I deeply, deeply believed would get the most out of myself, and I had to make the decision. That was the only thing I was nervous about, was when I had to make that decision, would I make the right decision? And fortunately, I made the right decision in the moment.
Let's talk about your swim, your run, your bike. Let's start with the swim. Always, you were in a position when you came out where what were you thinking when you get out of the water?
The problem is I have nowhere to go. I'm with guys who are much better swimmers than I am, right? Like Leon Chevalier swam right next. He's a much better swimmer than I am. Lots of the guys who I was with are much better swimmers. There's nowhere for me to go. Once that front pack breaks away, it's like nobody does any work, and I'm not good enough to do any work. So it's like I was in a washing machine. It was easy, very easy swim, and it was like literally, I wouldn't even call it swimming, half of it, because there was so much chaos, so many bodies. And I think it's just because really nobody wanted to go to the front and like push the pace and string it out in our pack, right? So it just turns into like an easy aerobic swim, basically. But I can't really complain about that because I'm not good enough to be the guy to go to the front. I can't go anywhere, you know? So it's probably as good as I can swim, to be honest with you. Like I'm swimming with guys who are much better swimmers than I am now. I was with Hoffman, I was with Hansen. I've always wanted to come out. I said if I could just come out with Hoffman. Well, I just came out with Hoffman and still pans out the same way. So,
so then the bike, you had a lot of work to do out there, right?
I mean, in my mind, I was like, the moment I got in the pack and Worth came by and Long was already at the front, I just knew that it was too much for me, that to have a good day, to have a good run. I knew that the run would be the most important piece of this race. And so I let them go. And I was like, I mean, I certainly could have pushed myself, right, and went with them. But at what cost? I would have finished 20th for sure, 100%. And that was the only decision that I made. And then I didn't care about, from that moment on, I did not look at anyone else in the race. I just raced myself. The entire time I just listened to my body. And I did on the ups, I did the power that was good for the up, and on the down, I tucked and did what was best to extract best speed on the down, and that was my race.
So is that already the new patient, Linus Sanders?
I'm a tactician now, right? And so that was the right tactic for this race. That's not necessarily the right tactic for the next race. That's the beauty of racing, right? Is it's a complex equation that you always will have to do analysis, and that's the fun part. That's the motivating part. And sometimes I will have a preconceived, calculated idea of what I should do, and I'll do it, and it'll pan out not this way. So that's the fun part.
And then on the run, did you have in mind, like in Oceanside, oh, I have to catch one after another, and then maybe have a sprint at the end? Is that what we can expect from you now?
No, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of second place too, to be honest with you. I've had a lot of seconds in the last little while. So I once again, on the run, I didn't care. Like, I just didn't care. I saw Christian run away. I mean, it was that I knew the win was over. I knew that I knew Curry definitely was going to be tough to catch for him. I didn't think that I would catch Curry. That's ridiculous. You know what I mean? He's 5 minutes up the road on me. But sticking to my plan is what led to me doing how I did. And so I just didn't care. Don't get me wrong, some races you need to race that way, right? 70.3 is you need to race that way, I think, for the most part. When you come off with people, you better go with them, right? But in this particular, in an Ironman, it's much different than a 70.3. Fortunately, in Oceanside, I had learned this lesson, right? Like, I came off in 6th, and I finished 2nd, and I never thought I would catch those guys. That's a 70.3. And so in my mind, I was like, if that's what happened to them in a 70.3, imagine what will happen to them in Ironman. And so it's just experience. I've been doing it a while now.
Yeah. And you're doing it a while, and then before the press conference, I saw you speaking with Christian Blumenfeld, talking about training already. How do you do this and that? And interesting for me. Is it always that you want to learn something new?
That's the only reason I'm doing this, to be honest with you. I love learning, and this is an outlet for me. I like exercise, and I love learning. And so if I can, mesh those two, then great. And so He's a fascinating guy. He's very knowledgeable. Gustav as well, Mikkel, Olaf. They're very, very fascinating people. Their approach, their mind, their tactical mind, everything. So if they're willing to share anything with me, I'm definitely asking the questions and listening. So it's a great sport. Like it's fascinating, that you can talk to the Olympic champ and the guy who you're racing, and he will freely share information with you. He's just doing it just now. And or he just has no threatening. He's not threatened by me in any way. He doesn't care. He knows I'll never catch him. So one or the other. I don't know.
So we will see when you will be the best Norwegian in the team. So we want to win. Thanks, Lance.
Cheers, man.